I will request Dr. Roli Bansal and Dr. V.B. Jindal to come the stage to chair the session. Both are the eminent physicians of Ghaziabad. और रोली के बारे में मैं एक बात और बताऊं, हम लोग पहले गाजियाबाद में 3 लेडी फिजिशियंस थे, माई सेल्फ, डॉक्टर आरती एंड डॉक्टर अरुणा दास, और तीनों के हस्बैंड सर्जन. उसके बाद जब आई डॉक्टर रोली आई, लेडी फिजिशियन, और इसके हस्बैंड भी सर्जन है. तो आई विल रिक्वेस्ट बोथ द चेयरपर्सन टू इंट्रोड्यूस आवर स्पीकर एंड डॉक्टर मुक्ता आल्सो कम. वो बाद में थोड़ा रोली के बाद में मिली,
वो सर्जन से आगे हो गए एनेस्थेटिस्ट से. थैंक्स. मेरे ख्याल से डॉक्टर चावला के इंट्रोडक्शन की जरूरत नहीं है. ही इज मास्टरमाइंड अगेंस्ट दिस एनसीआर मेडिसिन कॉन्क्लेव 2021 एंड जस्ट ओवर टू डॉक्टर चावला फॉर प्रेजेंटेशन.
नमस्कार. मैं मास्टरमाइंड नहीं हूँ, बिल्कुल कॉन्सेप्ट ठीक है, शुरू किया था मैंने, लेकिन इसमें सभी लोगों का योगदान है. टाइटल किसी और ने सजेस्ट किया और टॉपिक्स किसी और ने सजेस्ट किए, और फिर वो अपने आप कारवा जैसे होता चला जाता है. आज भी ऑर्डर में क्या था कि मेरा ये टॉपिक पहले था, पता नहीं कैसे था है, और डॉक्टर चक्रवर्ती ने बोला कि नहीं नहीं मैं पहले करूंगा. तो मुझे लगा ये आइडिया ज्यादा अच्छा है, पहले शॉर्ट ड्यूरेशन और फिर प्रोलॉन्ग फीवर. तो उसी को आगे कंटिन्यू करते हैं. जब ये टॉपिक मिला तो मैंने आई हैव आस्क्ड वन ऑफ माय physician friends in UK, I have to speak on prolonged fever. He said, prolonged fever, is there any entity? I have heard about the FUO only. I said, yes, I have to speak on that, and we have decided this. It has to be thing. When I go through the literature, normally what we see, by definition, if we see fever of more than 7 to 14 days, we can say, because somewhere it is also 5 days duration has been also taken as a prolonged fever. Prolonged fever is not as common as short febrile illness, but it is of great concern with the parents as well as patient and doctors. So when I look into the literature, there are various people who have used different kind of things. Like in this study, prolonged fever was taken as more than 7 days duration. And then I go through this critical care journal and find they have taken prolonged fever as more than 5 days. They have taken critically ill patients who were hospitalized in the hospital, and the prolonged duration was taken 5 days rather than 7 days. So it's a really definition is yet to be framed, and nobody has framed to who we should call it as prolonged fever. So again, it's the same things. With the COVID, when we say prolonged fever, it is again more than 7 days. Once we encounter with the case of this prolonged fever, we have to decide, it is really truly prolonged? Is there any evident cause, or is it FUO? Every fever should not be accepted as prolonged fever, because sometimes normal temperatures may be misdiagnosed, as the parent says their children has long times have the fever, and it may be too short febrile illness. Like if the patient first time have UTI for 3-4 days, and again after 4 or 5 days patient developed this urinary tract infections, after that proceeded by upper urinary URI rather than common cold kind of things. So there are maybe too short febrile illness rather than having a prolonged fever, maybe of 8-9 days, 10 days, but it is too short febrile illness. So we have to be careful before labeling it as a prolonged fever. So documentation of fever is important to accept whether it was a true fever or it is something else. Is there any evident cause? We have to decide. We can decide it by the seeing the symptoms. Patient may be having anorexia, patient may be having weight loss, patient have toxic look, or cachexia, there may be lymphadenopathy. These things gives us the guidance how we should proceed further for the patients. Sometimes specific findings may indicate a particular illness. Like if the patient is having contact with the TB patients, it may be the case of tuberculosis, or the patient is on medication, it may be drug fever. or various things, all the common things it are the indications, like Reiger's may be indication for some specific time kinds of fevers. Then we have to go for the examinations. Every system has to be examined and pinpoints. Like when we examining CNS, we have to look for the meningitis, chest, we have to look for the pneumonia, empyema, heart. There are possibility of having patients endocarditis. So abdominal, there may be liver abscess or perinephric abscess. Bone are also important. Patient may be having osteomyelitis or arthritis, and pelvic region examinations, we may find evidence for pelvic abscess. So if it is prolonged fever, then what is the cause? When the history and examination are not able to decide what is the cause for this prolonged fever, we have to investigate to assess further these patients. So we have to divide into two categories. Patient is with a good general condition and short history. Patient is with a bad general condition and long history. So if the patient is with a short history, then we go for the routine investigations like general blood picture, ESR, or CRP and urine. If all are negative, just we have to reassure the patient there is no fever and ask patient to follow. But we have to hospitalize the patient if the patient is of long durations. Why? How it will help us? Because documentation of fever, and so we have to exclude the factitious causes of fever. Or if the patient is having drug fevers, we can avoid the drugs, and we can see after every drug fever usually subsides after 3 days. We can have a close watch on the patient's general conditions, appetite. Patient may be having rigor on specific times, and there may be appearance of special signs and symptoms which we can observe while patient is hospitalized. Investigations, as I already told, non-specific investigations gave us the idea about the leukocytosis, leukopenia, and eosinophilia. These are all specific indications. By doing this CRP or ESR, we can have the idea of inflammations, and X-ray chest help sometimes in pneumonia, and secondaries may be there. Because malignancy is sometimes also a cause for this prolonged fever. If we go for the specific kind of investigations, there are various blood cultures, as everybody has discussed in the previous lectures. Urine culture, tuberculin test, malarial antigens, as well as slides, common serology for the Vidal test, brucellosis, monospot test, wheel phalanx test, dengue serology. So these are the things which we commonly encounter in our OPDs. So we have to proceed one by one. For the specific other investigations, maybe for tularemia or the rabbit fever, leptospirosis, toxoplasmosis, and by examining the bone marrow, we can have evidence for leukemic cells, and sometimes we can go for the culture also. So echocardiography, especially if the patient is having previously known cardiac patients, then definitely echocardiography is going to help us. Lymph node biopsy will help us in diagnosing lymphoma, radioisotope scanning for osteomyelitis, and CT whole body. We can look for the hidden tumor or malignancy. MRI sometimes can help depending upon the sites of location of the. To conclude, although there are many causes for prolonged fever, but the common causes are, which we commonly encountered after 7 days, like typhoid, malaria, dengue. Now new addition is COVID. Prolonged fever is also known for the COVID as well. And the others are liver abscess, tuberculosis, or hematological or other malignancies may be there. If we conclude, and what you could get it from my talk, we have seen 25% of all cases, the cause remain unknown, and it is FU or other, even after sophisticated investigations. Blind antibiotics should be avoided because it masks the conditions. It makes the diagnosis difficult. We can use blind antibiotics only in severely ill patients or when the patient is having septicemia. Sometimes patient may be a case of tuberculosis, so unnecessary use of antibiotic is not of going to give any benefits out of it. So once the physician is satisfied that there is no infectious cause, he or she can use NSAID or the corticosteroid to decrease the inflammation and diminish the constitutional symptoms. So that is what I want to communicate the things about the prolonged fever, because everything we know, but it was a bit of a new entity, and it is yet not classified what we should say prolonged fever, because in the various studies it was taken, in some studies in ICU admitted patients 5 days was a prolonged fever, and more than 7 days in COVID cases, and in some illnesses even after 14 days we say it is a prolonged fever. So that's all in my presentations. If you have any questions, I will be happy to answer.
Thank you, sir. Sir, I'll first of all thank you that you touched upon a topic that is something that we get daily in the OPD, but we are really not convinced कि patient को कैसे convince करें. वो पहले ही fever के लिए किसी quack या किसी से treatment लेके आते हैं, फिर हम उन्हें लंबे चौड़े investigations बताएं जिसमें कि एक money का भी constraints रहता है कि patient agree नहीं करता है उसके लिए कि ये जांचें वाकई में करानी है, उसे हर बुखार एक normal बुखार लगता है जो उतर क्यों नहीं रहा है. तो हॉस्पिटलाइजेशन का इंडिकेशन कितना जरूरी है, आई वुड लाइक टू आस्क यू कि क्या ये मैनेजिंग या रिकॉर्डिंग टेम्परेचर हम घर पे नहीं कर सकते. एंड सेकंड क्वेश्चन इज कि कॉर्टिकोस्टेरॉइड के यूज के लिए क्या कोई स्पेसिफिक गाइडलाइन है कि भाई ये चीजें अगर पॉजिटिव हैं या फिर पैरामीटर वाइज की ESR CRP या कोई इन्फ्लेमेटरी मार्कर बढ़ा है तभी यूज करना है, या इसको हम मतलब कहना चाहिए एम्पेरिकली भी दे सकते हैं.
Hospitalization is only required when patient is not well educated, he is not able to understand your what you wants from him. If the patient is able to chart the temperature and can take normally, and sometimes factitious fevers are more common when there is no as such attendant is not supervising the things. Only then there is a difficulty arises. Otherwise, child is in your front and parents are there and they are ready to monitor the temperature, then definitely there is no use in advising him hospitalizations. But as far as the corticosteroid use is concerned, once you are sure there is no infective cause, one can always use short duration of corticosteroid for 5-7 days. It's not going to give any harm to the patient if you are sure there is no infectious cause is there. Yeah, CRP is an indication of inflammation in the body, although it is not very much specific, but if it is always has to be correlated with the why you are getting done CRP. If the patient is having some complaint regarding you are thinking about this inflammation kind of things in the body, only then you will get it done CRP. Otherwise, if in routine cases, patient is having the reports of CRP and it is raised, there is no need to panic, and it can be repeated. It's several times it has been seen. Once you repeat it from the different lab or after a span of 5-7 days, it came out to be normal. If the patient is not having any concern, then definitely you should also not have the concern only for the CRP sake. Yeah, chronic obesity itself is an inflammation. So you can have a raised CRP, but it may not be very high. The important thing is every investigation has to be correlated clinically. If your patient is not having any complaint regarding the fever or anything, then you should not bother. Obesity itself is inflammations, inflammatory kind of conditions. So one can ideally CRP in case of COVID, what we used to have, it should be around more than 7 we used to take in case of the COVID. But depending upon the conditions, you may have very high CRP values, sometimes in 100 also, 150 also. We have seen even in cases of COVID also. So more than 7 is significant and you can use it as a cutoff line. First it has to be correlated clinically, whether there is any indication for doing further investigation. If patient is coming to you just for the CRP sake, I will first advise you to monitor the patients and have a repeat CRP done after 1 week times. that will be better if the patient is not having any concern with related to this CRP. So better to overlook it.
There is always a confusion.
Yeah.
And you have to hold the patient. You have to have a great soft skill to hold the patient and make confident. I think we require battery of investigation. No single infection investigation will work.
Yeah, yeah.
You have to use your clinical skill. First, you have to decide between infective and non-infective. Then non-infective among, you have to decide whether it is inflammatory or non-inflammatory. Then you have to decide whether it is drug fever, factitious fever and other things. मेरे ख्याल से this will work, always work. And most important is counseling of the patient. Just he should not be losing confidence in you. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Chawla.
Thank you. Thank you very much.